feel the mat beneath you. Let's take a deep breath in and a deep exhale. Release everything to the mat. And then start to breathe into the body, natural or ujjayi breath, which is just a little bit deeper. So wherever you're at today, natural breaths in or ujjayi breath, maybe just notice how you inhale and how you exhale. And as you breathe in and breathe out, start to just relax the body. So if you notice there's any body parts that are a little tighter, holding tension, just start to tell them to relax, soften, bring yourself into the present moment of this class. As this is your time, this is your practice. This 1 hour is for you. So try to remain present with your breath and with your practice, and let any thoughts just drift away. If there's a thought that comes in, then just let it go. And just notice your inhales and the ribs expand and the belly on your exhales fall. And if you'll have an intention, just draw that intention into your practice today. Whether it's and then bring the right knee into your chest. Just hug the right knee in. Maybe move the right leg, right knee from right side to left side. And then lengthen the right leg down to your mat. Inhale the left knee in. Move it to the right, to the left. And then lengthen the left leg down to your mat. And then just start to hug both knees in to your chest. And then float your legs to the sky for legs up the wall pose. Just relax your toes. Relax your legs. Breathe. And then open your feet a little wider, happy baby pose. So wrap your hands around your feet. Draw your knees in towards your armpits. And then you can rock from right to left. And then place both feet down to your mat, about hip-width distance. Bring your arms next to your sides. Take an inhale on your mat. And take an exhale. On your next inhale, start to float your hips. So draw the navel in and tilt your pubic bone towards your navel, and then start to lift your hips into bridge pose. You might want to squeeze your shoulder blades underneath your body. Maybe you grab your hands underneath your body if that feels good to you. And then relax your inner thighs. Relax your buttocks. And just press into your mat with your feet. Take an inhale and bridge. And then exhale nice and slow. Roll the body all the way down to your mat. We'll open the feet wider than your mat and do one windshield wiper to the right, one windshield wiper to the left. And then walk your feet back into your mat, hip width distance. We'll take an inhale to prepare, exhale to release. And then inhale, tilt your pelvis and lift your hips back into your bridge. Do whatever felt good to you with your arms. Relax your butt. Press into your feet. Soften your rib cage towards your belly button. One more inhale. Exhale, nice and slow. Roll your spine down towards your mat. And then to release the pose, just open your feet wider. Knees go to your right. And then knees go to your left. And then walk your feet back in to your mat and take your right ankle on top of your left thigh. Open your knee and then interlace your hands underneath the left thigh. Draw your left knee in towards your body. Your right elbow can dig into your right leg just to open that knee, get a little deep into this nice hip stretch. And then gently float your left leg back down to your mat. Float your right foot. And then switching sides, left ankle on top of your right thigh. And then interlace your hands underneath the right leg. And then draw your right knee in towards your chest. You can dig with your left elbow if that feels good to you. One more inhale. And exhale, release the pose, right foot down, then left foot down. And then bring both knees together and open your feet a little wider than your mat. So your knees will dip in towards each other, your feet will be a little wider than your mat. And then just release the pelvis. Let your arms hang next to your sides. Take 3 cycles of breath here. And then walk your feet back into your mat. Bring yourself to your right side body in a fetal position. And then slowly start to press yourself all the way into a seated pose. If you have a blanket, you can rest the blanket underneath your hips if that feels good to you. And then make your way into a seated pose, crossing your legs, sitting your spine nice and tall. And then close your eyes. Let's take an inhale here. And an exhale. And then float your eyes, awakening your eyes. Your hands go on your knees. And then bring your chest forward. So we're arching our back, drawing our chest forward on an inhale. Exhale, round your back. So navel drawn in, chin towards your chest, and then round your back. You can hold your knees to lean back a little bit more if you'd like. One inhale towards the front, and then exhale towards the back. 3 more of those. Inhale towards the front, exhale towards the back. Last one. Inhale forward. So mini cat and cows. Exhale back. Seated cat and cows. And then bring yourself to neutral spine. We're going to hinge or lean to the right and then lean towards the left. Just lean towards the right and then lean towards the left. Couple more rounds to the right and to the left. And then we're going to do a little circle with our torso. So bring yourself to neutral, standing up nice and tall in your seated pose. And then arch the chest forward, going in a circle, and then rounding the back, navel drawn in. Bring your navel in, round the back, and then doing this motion. So we're going in one direction, right or left, you choose. So cat and cow to the front, circling, and then to the back, rounding the back. A couple more times, and then we'll alternate directions. And then alternate, go the other way around, chest forward, and then round the back, navel drawn in. Couple more times. Breathe, connect with your breath. Maybe close your eyes as you move. Breathe a little bit deeper. Maybe imagine water around you, focusing on sacral chakra, your creativity. And then bringing ourselves back to neutral spine, seated pose. Inhale, bring the arms and lift the arms. And then exhale, bring both hands next to your sides on the ground. Right shin, or right ear to right shoulder. Chin to chest. Left ear to left shoulder. And then round it back to chin and to chest. Right ear to right shoulder. And then one more time, chin to chest, left ear to left shoulder. And then chin to chest. Lift the arms on an inhale. Exhale, bring the arms down to your sides. And then tiptoe the right hand from the right side body. You might bend the right elbow down and then lift the left arm all the way up and over. Gaze towards your right hand. So find that whole side body stretch in the left side body. Breathe into your left lung. And then switch. Inhale to lift. Exhale, left hand tiptoes away from the body. Right hand goes all the way over. Bend in your left elbow. Feel the stretch in the whole right side body and breathe into your right lung. Inhale, lift. Exhale, right hand down, left hand over. Inhale, lift. Exhale, other side. And then inhale to lift. Exhale, fold. So walk the hands forward, chin goes towards your chest. Let the back of the neck release. Let the shoulders release. Nice. Walk your hands forward, lifting your chest up. And then open your legs, wide-legged forefold. It also helps to have that blanket underneath your hips. So just bring the blanket underneath your hips if you have it. If you don't, it's okay too. And then flex your toes, your feet towards the ceiling. Knees are going to face towards the sky. Once you're here, we're going to do that lean to the right, lean to the left action. So just leaning to the right, leaning to the left. Hands can rest on top of your thighs. Close your eyes if that feels good. And then we're going to do that rotation again. We're going to move the chest forward and then round the back. And just little baby ones, move the chest forward, round the back. Circling in one direction, right or left, you choose. 3 more rounds. All right, and then alternate your direction. So if you went right, now go left. Went left, now go right. And just use your hands for balance. It can be on the earth if you want, or on your legs. Navel drawn in, really connect with your breath as you move. And again, envision that water surrounding you. That life, that energy, the creative spirit. And then bring yourself back to neutral. Tiptoe your hands towards your right foot And then maybe your elbow will bend, and then lift the left hand all the way up and over. Inhale to rise. Exhale, left hand tiptoes towards the left foot, right hand goes all the way over. Inhale to rise, right hand down, left hand over. Inhale to rise, left hand down, right hand goes over. Beautiful. And then inhale to rise, exhale, walk your hands forward into a fold. Arms. If you do have a bolster or a pillow, you can bring the pillow forward. And then try to keep your kneecaps lifted and towards the sky. Lift your chest, take your shoulder blades back, and then just release your neck. Maybe point your chin towards the right shoulder, towards the left. Three cycles of breath here. And then inhale, start to walk your hands towards your body. Lift yourself all the way up. And then zip your legs together. Bring your heels towards your hips. And then we're going to make our way onto our knees. If you want a blanket underneath your knees, you can place a blanket underneath your knees. Or making our way into tabletop. So hands forward, shoulder width distance, knees are hip width distance. And then just start to move around here. Do what feels good in your body. Moving your hips, dipping them to the right, dipping them to the left. Organic movements, connect with your breath. So about 6 cycles of breath, doing what you want in your cat and cow or in your tabletop. So honor your practice by connecting with your breath. Fluidly move and just intuitively connect and feel what your body wants. Slow, go at your own pace. Remember to breathe. And bring yourself back to your tabletop. Beautiful. We're going to inhale, lower the belly, lift the tailbone. Cow pose. Exhale, start to press. Inhale, lower. Exhale, press. 2 more. Inhale, lower. And then exhale, press. Last one. Nice. And then round your back. So cat spine. And then take your hips towards your heels, keeping that nice rounded back. Inhale to rise, keep the spine rounded into your cat, and then dip your hips. Maybe scoot your feet back, dip your hips to the right, dip your hips to the left. Inhale, draw the navel in, and then bring that arch in the back, and then take your hips towards your heels. Inhale, keep the spine arched, and then lower your hips down. We'll do 3 more of those. You can stay down, move right, move left, if that feels good. And then navel drawn in, lift your whole spine, and then bring your hips to your heels. Keep that nice rounded back. Inhale to rise. Exhale, lower your hips. Roll your shoulders back, and then just moving into the hips. Doing what feels good. Maybe gazing over right shoulder, gazing over left. And then last one, navel drawn in. Really round your back, hips to heels. Inhale, round the back, and then lower your hips. And just move nice and slow, right to left. Nice. Now bring yourself back to your tabletop. Take 2 breaths here. And then slowly float yourself into downward facing dog. So flip the toes and then gently start to lift your hips, downward facing dog. And then in your downward facing dog, just walk it out. Right, left. Do anything that the body needs here. Any kind of movement. And then breathe through it. Breathe through each step, walking it out. Connecting with your breath. And then take your right leg to the side. Open, stack your hip. Bring it back to three-legged, and then lower right leg down. Inhale, left leg lifts, and then open, stack your hips, scorpion pose. Back to three-legged, lower left foot down. Inhale, bring your knees down to your mat. Hinge forward, over your wrists, and then lower your belly. So draw the elbows in, lower belly all the way down to side ribs. Squeeze your shoulder blades. We'll do 3 baby cobras. Inhale, lift the chest, gazes down. Squeeze your shoulder blades. Elbows are drawn in and towards your hip bones. Exhale, lower forehead down. 2 more. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Last one. Inhale, lift. Squeeze your shoulder blades. Draw the navel in. Exhale, lower. Inhale, press all the way up. Open the knees, child's pose. Take your hips back. Forehead goes down to your mat. And if it feels good to you, you can rock in your child's pose, right to left, if that feels good. Reconnect with your breath, reconnect with your intention. Inhale, let's float ourselves back to tabletop. Exhale here. Inhale, take your right leg behind you. Extend the right leg. Big toes are turned in. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, extend. Exhale, right foot forward. Right foot is forward, and this is where you have your blocks if you have them. Place your blocks on opposite sides of your right foot, and then you'll stay in this pose. So you want your right knee directly over your right ankle. And then if you want a little bit more of a stretch, you can lower your hips a little bit more, lengthen your left leg down to your mat. And then once you're in this pose, roll your shoulders back and lift the chest. Lift your chest, breathe. You'll notice your left hip might be tight. And then we're going to walk our blocks back, half splits. Take our hips back, lift our toes maybe. Keep your hips squared to your mat, gazes down. Let the back of your neck release, let your shoulders relax. Inhale, rock it forward, back to your lunge. Lift your heart, roll your shoulders back, dip into your left hip if that feels good. If you're more at a 90-degree angle, just engage your thighs towards each other, roll your shoulders back. One more breath here. And then exhale, take your right knee back, make your way back to tabletop pose. And then do anything to release that movement. Dipping hips, doing a couple cat-cows. Other side, left leg extends. So big toes drawn in, hips are square. And then knee. Left foot goes forward. So in that 90-degree angle, grab your blocks, knee is stacked directly over the left ankle. And then take your shoulder blades back. Navel is drawn in. We're still engaging our hips towards each other. So we want our core to be nice and strong, our hips to be nice and strong, even though we're getting a nice slow stretch out of this pose. So take an inhale here, take an exhale, and then start to float your hips back. Half split. Walk your blocks with you. Lift your toes, gazes down, and then square your hips, keeping your hips squared to your mat. Feel the stretch underneath the calves, the knee. Awesome, guys. And then bring yourself back to your lunge. One more inhale here, and then exhale. Take your left knee back into your tabletop pose. Bring your blocks forward. Do anything to release that pose that feels good. Nice. And then walk your hands forward, melting heart pose or puppy pose. So if you want to block, you can place the block in front of you, and you can lower your forehead onto the block if that feels good to you. You can lower onto your chin. You can lower onto just your forehead to your mat. So start to melt your heart. Get that stretch underneath the armpits. Feel the lower spine, the whole spine just bend a little bit. And then inhale, nice and gently lift your heart back up, walk your hands back in, remove your block if you had a block. And then make your way back into downward facing dog. Nice and slow, float your hips, nice and generous, bend in your knees if that feels good. Or you can straighten them out a little bit and then walk it out. Spread your fingers, spread your toes. Start to walk it out in your downward dog, as this is our second one. So we're still warming up our body. And then inhale, lift your right leg and scorpion pose. Open, stack your hips, lower your left heel down towards your mat, and then wrap your right shoulder towards your mat so your shoulders are squared. Bring yourself back to three-legged, and then lower the right leg down. Other side, left leg lifts, scorpion pose, stack, open your hip. Wrap your left shoulder down. Lower your right heel towards the earth. Bring yourself back to three-legged, lower left leg down. Inhale, hinge forward, lower the knees, and then lower belly all the way down to the earth. Forehead goes down, hands go next to your side ribs. Baby cobra, 2 baby cobras. Inhale to lift, gazes down, neck is nice and long. Exhale, bring yourself back down. One more, inhale, lift, belly is engaged, squeeze your shoulder blades. And then exhale, slowly roll down. And then interlace your hands behind your back, squeeze your shoulder blades. And then we'll just lift the chest. So one, inhale to lift your heart, squeeze your shoulder blades, feel that nice stretch in your arms and the shoulders. Lift your hands, and then exhale, lower right cheek down, lower your arms down to your sides. Close your eyes. And then slowly start to lift your head. Place your hands next to your left arm from your left shoulder. Bring your right or your left cheek down to your mat. Right hand is next to your right side ribs. Broken wing pose is what we're getting into. So if you want to get into that now, you can. Otherwise, inhale, lift your right leg. So inner thigh lifts. Press into your right hand and then flip your hips. And then move your chest, so lift your chest and then lift it so you're opening the hip, opening up your whole right side. And then you can keep your right foot behind your left leg. You can do a bind if you want to grab your right hand or your right foot if that feels good to you. So you can modify this pose to your liking on your practice. And nice and slow, start to Bring yourself back to your mat. Roll the right hip down. Switching arms. Left hand goes next to your side ribs. Right hand extends. You want your right hand directly away from your right shoulder. Right cheek goes down. Inhale, left leg lifts. And then press into your left hand. Flip your left leg behind your right thigh. Open your hip. And if you decided to do a little wrap with the right hand, you can do a bind or wrap with the left. Just grab that point, open the hips. Let that stretch feel really nice and juicy. One more inhale. And then exhale, nice and slow. Lower the left hip down. Hands go next to your side ribs. Press all the way up to your knees. And then open your knees. Child's pose. Take your hips back. Forehead goes down. Rock your hips from right to left if that feels good to you. That's my favorite. And then 3 cycles of breath here in your child's pose. Inhale, float yourself to your tabletop. Do any kind of movements here that feel good. And then flip your toes, slowly lift your hips down, facing dog. Walk it out. Just bend one leg, bend the other. On an inhale, lift your heels. And then on an exhale, lower your heels. One more like that. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. And then on your next inhale, lift your right leg, 3-legged dog. Open, stack your hips, scorpion pose. Lower your left heel towards the earth. Wrap your right shoulder towards your mat. And then back to 3-legged. This time on your exhale, bring your right foot all the way through. Plant your right foot down, and then lower your left knee all the way down to the earth. Grab your blocks. You have your blocks next to your sides. Roll the shoulders back. Inhale, roll your heart forward. Lunge. Exhale, take your hips back. Half splits. Maybe your toes lift. Walk your blocks towards you. Send your hips back. Gaze is down. Inhale, roll it forward. Roll your shoulders back. And then exhale, take your hips back. Walk your blocks with you. Lift your toes. Gaze is down. This time, we're going to walk it forward into your lunge. Take your time. And then flip the back leg, lift the back leg. Runner's lunge. Exhale, straighten the right leg. Pyramid pose. Modify pyramid pose. Then take your right foot back, downward facing dog. Walk it out. Other side, left leg lifts. Lift the left leg, scorpion pose. Stack your hips, lower your right heel. Get that nice stretch in your calves. Bring yourself back to 3-legged. And then left leg all the way through. Low lunge. Left foot forward. Lower the right knee and grab your blocks. Inhale, roll your shoulders back. Lift your heart. Exhale, take your hips back, lift your toes, gaze is down. Keep your hips squared. Inhale one more time, nice and slow. Rock it forward. Dip into your right hip. Let it feel good. Roll your shoulders back. Squeeze your thighs towards each other energetically. Release your right hip flexor. And then take it back one more time. Take your hips back. Gaze is down. Square your hips. This time, rock it forward. And then lift your right leg, runner's lunge. On your exhale, straighten the left leg, pyramid pose. Lower the right heel if you can. Left leg straighten, chin lowers. Feel that stretch, breathe into it. Take your time. Inhale back to runner's lunge, removing your blocks. Hands go forward, take your left leg back, downward facing dog. Inhale here, and exhale. And then take your knees down to your mat. Child's pose, open your knees, send your hips back. If you feel like bringing your knees together and then taking your arms behind you, bring your forehead down to your mat, you can do that pose too. So either one, embryo pose, child's pose, whatever is calling to you. And then inhale, nice and slow, just roll the body, walk the hands towards you if you're in child's pose. So you're sitting on your heels. Grab your blocks, bring your blocks next to you or on the side of you. Hands go forward and just flip your toes. We're going to stretch the back of our feet. So hands go forward, flip the toes. So getting all 5 or all 10 toes on your mat. And then slowly start to lower your hips towards your heels so you get that nice stretch. Either rock, if that feels good to you. Just rock and feel the stretch in the back of your feet. If you want to, you can walk your hands, bring your hands onto your thighs and sit. Open your. You can come out of this whatever you want and walk your hands forward to release the pose if that feels good to you. Couple more inhales and exhales. And then gently take your hands all the way back down and then just start to tap out the tops of your feet. And then bring your knees to the side, send your hips down to the mat, walk your feet forward. Hips can be on your blanket if that feels good to you. And then straighten your legs so your toes are facing the sky. Inhale, let's lift the arms, reach nice and tall. On an exhale, fold, forward fold. Let the head release, let your neck release. Few more breaths here. Inhale, start to walk your hands. Right hand will go behind your right hip. And then stand nice and tall in your seated pose. Left hand or left arm will wrap around the right knee. And then you can twist, gazing over right shoulder. Take an inhale to lift the spine, exhale to twist. And then inhale, bring yourself back to center. Take your right ankle on top of your left thigh. Inhale to lift the chest and then exhale, fold over both legs. You'll feel a nice stretch in the right hip. Other side, left foot plants by the right calf. And then take your left hand behind your left hip. Right hand or right arm will just wrap around the left knee. You can also bring your elbow on the outside of your left knee if that feels better to you. I like this version. Just nicely hug the right or the left knee with the right arm. Inhale to lift. Exhale to gaze over left shoulder. One more inhale. And then exhale, release, unwind, bring your chest forward. Take your left ankle on top of your right thigh. Inhale to lift the chest. Exhale to fold. Walk the hands generously, fold into this pose. Feel the stretch in the left hip, release. And then inhale, let's walk our hands towards our body, releasing the pose. Lengthen the left leg and just gently just bend the knees, walking it out. And then walk your feet in towards your body. Grab your thighs underneath your thighs with your hands, and then just slowly start to roll, bringing your back all the way down to your mat. You can leave your blanket underneath your hips if you would like, or you can let it stay there. And then take an exhale. We will use our blocks for our final pose. So just leave them next to the side of your mat if you have them. If not, it's okay. And then take your right ankle on top of your left thigh. Open the right knee. Interlace your hands underneath the left thigh. So let's notice how the hips feel when we're doing this for a second time or figure four. Maybe the knee, the left knee, draws into our chest a little bit more. Maybe you feel comfortable digging your right elbow into your right thigh and opening up the right hip a little bit more. Maybe you feel like rocking your hips a little bit from right to left. Take your shoulders down towards your mat. Breathe into this pose with focused breath and intention. And then slowly lower the left foot down to your mat. Keep the right ankle where it's at. And then we're going to just shift our hips, twist our hips to the left. So the right foot will stay on the right or the left thigh, and the right foot will land on the floor. You can grab your right ankle with your left hand. That feels good to you. With your right hand, you can push your right thigh away from your right hip, just to get a little bit more of a stretch here. We're always folding and bending, and this feels more space. Three more cycles of breath here. And then slowly release the pose by lifting yourself back to center. Take the right foot down. Do one shield wiper to the right and one windshield wiper to the left. Take yourself back to center. Now take the left ankle on top of your right thigh. Open the left knee. And then interlace your hands underneath the right thigh. Feel this side. How does it feel to you? Maybe you rock. Maybe you bring your right knee a little bit closer towards your body, like you feel that stretch a little bit deeper. Left elbow digs into your left thigh to open the left knee. Connect with your breath. Intentional breaths, intentional focus. Take your shoulder blades down your back. Soften your jaw, soften your face. And then slowly release the pose by dropping the right foot down to the earth. Keep the left ankle where it's at. And then shift your hips, twist your hips to the right. Left foot will plant. Left hand will to your left side. Left hip away from creating that space. And slowly release the pose and take yourself back to center. Do anything to release the pose, windshield wiper if that feels good. Maybe bring your knees in towards your chest if that feels good. And then walk your feet back to your mats. If you have a blanket underneath your hips, you can roll the blanket underneath side bridge or support bridge. If you have your blocks, you can remove your blanket and place your blocks underneath your hips, either the medium height or the tallest height. And then rest your hips on your blocks. Rest your shoulder blades, squeeze your shoulder blades together so that your shoulder blades feel comfortable, your shoulder heads roll back. Relax into this pose. Let any tension in the face, the jaw just release. You can remain here in a supported bridge. Or if you'd like to get a little bit more release in your hip flexors, you can lengthen your right leg down. So you can do one at a time, and then your left. Or you can do both at the same time. And then just open your feet just a little bit wider than your mat, so you'll feel that nice release in your hip flexors. Let the arms rest next to your sides. Breathe into your space that you're creating here, intentional and focused inhales. Stay in the present moment of your breath and this practice. Two more cycles of breath here. And you can remain in the supported bridge for your Shavasana. Or you can bring yourself to a supported Shavasana by walking your feet in towards your body, removing your blocks, and then taking your pillow or blanket and then placing it underneath your knees. Make your legs nice and long, rest your legs on your pillow. Squeeze your shoulder blades together, resting your whole back ribs onto your mat. Open the palms towards the sky. Let your body release into full Shavasana, allowing the breath to go. Allow your body to melt and relax. Each body part surrenders into this space, into your mat, into this present moment here as we lie in our final moments of this practice. Relax your shoulders and your jaw. Relax your chest. soften your belly, soften your hips, round your legs, your quads. Release your knees and your calves. Relax your feet, your toes. Notice your breath on your inhales. Notice your breath on your exhales. So now we have a natural breath into the body and natural exhale. Just softly inhale and softly exhale. No here. Take as much time as you need in your final Shavasana pose. If you're ready to come into the night, release the practice. Start to wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers. Stretch the body nice and long with pointing the toes. Maybe bring the arms above your head. Stretch nice and long. And then on your exhale, just roll over to the right or left side, body in a fetal position. Take a moment here. Any last reflections? And then nice and slow, keeping your eyes closed, gently start to lift yourself all the way back to a seated pose. Once you arrive, rest your hands on your knees. And together we will take 3 deep breaths. Take a deep breath into the body. Really fill up the lungs and travel the breath all the way to the crown of your head, holding the breath at the top. And then exhale through the mouth. Release the breath, release the shoulders, and let the breath go. 2 more times. Inhale, fill up the body. Travel the breath all the way through crown of your head, and then pause at the top. Maybe take a few extra steps of breath into the body, and then gently exhale through the mouth. Let the breath go, let the shoulders go. Relax. Last one, fill it up. Nice and slow, traveling that breath through the spine, each vertebrae, lifting the breath through the crown of your head, all the way to the top. And then exhale. Thank you so much for honoring your body, your practice, and letting me guide you. Namaste. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Betsy. Oh.
Thank you, Courtney.
Thanks, Maria.
You're welcome. Have a beautiful night. Stay
You too.
well. Thank you,
I hope
guys.
you had a fun trip in Colorado.
It was nice. It was nice and sunny. I was
Yeah, it looked
happy
really
to have the change of scenery, and my cousin lives out there. I have two cousins that live out there, so it was nice to see family
good.
connect.
Yeah, yeah. All right.
But hopefully I brought the weather with me. It's nice out,
I was
so
gonna say, yeah, I just did that practice on my deck. It was nice and relaxing.
oh, good. That's so good. Are you you're in the training, right?
Yeah.
Are you
Yep,
almost
we
you guys almost done?
yeah, 2 more weeks. The 15th is like our last class.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it
It's
went by
coming
fast.
up. Are you excited?
I am, yeah.
Yay.
Yeah.
I know. I loved my training. I mean, it's too bad you guys have it virtually now, but at
I
least at
know.
least it
At least
wasn't
we're
like the whole time.
I know. I know. Yeah. Yeah. It's not the same in person and the connection, all that, but it's still good to connect with everyone. So
Yeah. I mean, I think
continuing.
that we're going to try to, if the governor lets us open, then we'll be open at the studio. So
Yeah. Yeah.
hopefully in a couple weeks we'll get to see people in person.
I
I
know.
mean, I'm getting used to teaching virtually, but
Right.
it's like an energy thing. I mean, I still feel like a connection, but
Yeah.
in the room it's just
It's just different.
night and day. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the convenience of teaching virtually, but I
Right.
like the environment.
That's what I was gonna say. It's so easy to just like pop on, especially I'm working from home. So I'm like, it's so
Yeah,
easy with my schedule to like pop on and do whatever I can instead of, yeah, the
yeah.
commute to the studio. But yeah, there's just the difference of being in the room with everyone and yeah.
Yeah, I continue virtual classes even when we open, just because I have friends all over the country, and like my friends in LA, they're not going to be